This is live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Miller, and we have some dancers here today. Look right over here. Okay, we have Elizabeth Whitney-Gersh, Michael Mckeever. Mckeever, I knew I got it right, and Yajiara.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so your dancers, first tell us about the journey, why you first got into dancing, what it's like today, and why you were here, and what does the future look like?
That's a lot of questions.
It is. Answer in whatever order you like.
Okay, so I got here because I am a nurse by trade. I went to school for nursing. I worked in the ICU. I did cardiac. I did a bunch of.
By the way?
Where in the ICU?
Yes.
All over the country, but most recently here at Jackson South.
Oh,
they're wonderful.
very good.
Oh my God, they're fabulous. But thank you. So I was a nurse. I graduated school, and I realized after 3 undergrad degrees that I was out of school and I was working and I had no hobbies because I had always had work and had school and had homework and always said I never had anything like this. So I took up dancing because I had danced when I was a little kid and as an adult seemed like something interesting, something different, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I competed for several years as an amateur. I got hired as a professional with Fred Astaire. They relocated me down here. And I was there for several years. The pandemic happened, and I went back to nursing. And then I had the good fortune to open my own studio in Pinecrest in 2021.
Michael, I know you must have a great story, so let's hear it.
All right. Why do I dance? I was one of those kids that when the music came on, I had to move. Much to my dad's macho horror.
I was the opposite. The music came on and I didn't know what to do. That's why I went to take dance lessons.
And I had an older sister and a younger sister, and they were both national athletes. And I was the chubby, short, gay kid. And they actually took dance class, and I would be, they would come back and I would like, you're not doing it right. And I would like correct them, like they were practicing on the linoleum in the kitchen. So I really wanted to dance, but I was never allowed to. And then senior year in high school.
When you say you were never allowed to?
My father wouldn't allow me to.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
He wouldn't allow me to. He wouldn't allow me to take class. He wouldn't. My younger sister did the High School Musical every year. She was 1 year behind me. And then the senior year in high school, she was like, the boys can't dance. Like you're going to the audition. She's like, this is how you do a turn and this is how you do a kick. And I was like, oh. So she grabbed me, Scorpio, by the way, my younger sister. And she grabbed me and took me to the thing. And the director was like, where have you been? Like, why haven't you been? And I was like, whatever. And then that director kept calling me once I did she was like, come over, we're doing Gypsy, the community theater. And I was like, okay, when's the audition? She's like, no, there's no audition. I already cast you in the show. Just come over, you're in the show.
So, but did he, if you will, discover you in that sense? She said, you got it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I was in the show and they revived a role. They had cut a role because they didn't have boys who could do it. So when I auditioned for the show, they put a role back in for me and then paired me with my sister, and we were like the featured dancers. This is kind of...
And what year is that?
Kind of what my sister looks like.
How old are you?
I was 18.
Okay.
I was a senior in high school. And then after that, I just worked all the time.
It was like 2 years ago.
I worked all the time, and I was going to business school because my father's like, well, I'm not going to pay for college unless if you major in liberal arts. I'm like, okay, so I was a marketing major. And I woke up one day and I'm like, wait a minute, he's not paying for any of my college. I was working 3 jobs. I was like, screw it. I changed to theater, and the rest is history. I was working professionally at 19. And then I went to New York to go to fashion school. I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology for design. And while I was there, I did off-Broadway. I was in Greece. And then I was like, why am I doing fashion? I just want to dance. So I went back to LA and I auditioned.
What year did you do Greece?
Greece was 86.
As a matter of fact, Didi Khan was
You're trying to age me right now.
Didi Khan
He
was at her name.
You answered that.
You just
Didi Khan
outed
was
me.
there, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, but I'll show you some pictures of her.
No, I loved her. She's
Yeah.
so fun. So I just always danced. It was completely accidental. I'm an absolutely accidental dancer. I was an accidental professional dancer because I literally, when I went to New York, I was turning 21 while I was in the show Grease, and they made me the dance captain. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't even know how to
So
dance.
what was it like when
So I had to go take dance classes because now I was dancing professionally and I had never taken a dance class.
Michael, what was it like when it dawned on you, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and that other people recognize it? What was that like for you internally?
Hang on, I could do an impression.
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
of course. I'm fabulous.
No, that's the way I am now. But back then, like
He is.
I was a very funny. There's two different kinds of people that go, because I went to acting school after that. I did my bachelor's in musical theater, but after I came back from New York, I was like, wait a minute, I gotta learn how to do this if I'm going to be a professional. But there's exhibitionist actors and there's artistic actors. The exhibitionist actors are usually not that good, but they're just, they're the first one in the fabulous outfit and out to meet their public afterwards. And, they had all these people coming. I was the other kind of actor where I was like busy doing my work. I didn't really care if anyone came and saw me, I wasn't that interested in people, like my whole family coming
It was
and
art
giving
for
me.
the sake of art.
Yeah, and I was always just like, well, I want to be good, So it was very kind of internal for me, because I was always just like working really hard to be great. And whatever I was doing, I was trying to put the best version of that onto the stage.
When did you recognize, hey, I want to do this internally, before you maybe even told anybody?
When I was 12.
Good for you.
Much to my father's horror.
I'm sure.
My mother was very entertained, though.
Yeah, Ida, tell us about your love of dancing and about helping people.
Well, since I was a little girl, I fell in love with Fred Astaire, watching his movies. And when I started growing up, I went to FIT in New York, fashion. I took fashion, and then I took hair and makeup. And I've been doing that for almost 40 years.
She still designs clothes, by the way.
Yeah.
For myself now, not for anybody else.
They're beautiful.
And I said one day, every day I kept saying, one day, Fred Astaire. I would just love to just go into the studio. So last year, I was supposed to have surgery. And it was red flags everywhere. And I just canceled it. And I saw, which I'm not a social media person, but I saw an ad saying one free class for Fred Astaire. And I said, what do I have to lose? I made the appointment. I went, it takes me an hour to get to them every day, 1 hour, literally.
I didn't know that at the time.
She didn't know, nobody knew. So as soon as I opened the door, I opened and I said, I'm home. Not realizing what was going to happen to me, how my life was going to change. The teacher, the instructor, gave me my first class. He told me, what's your story? So I told him, I'm going through cancer for the last 4 years at that time. They didn't do chemo radiation because I have a bleeding disorder. I cannot do any other stuff. So I have to do everything natural. And dancing for me, I thought it was going to be the result of my healing. So this lady comes up to me and she said, I have a show in 2 weeks, a showcase, right? You're going to dance. All I need from you, yes, Miss Elizabeth. And she said, all I need from you is your commitment that you're going to come and take 10 classes. I'll take care of everything. I was in shock, first of all, because nobody has ever done anything like that to me, ever. So I made the commitment. I came every day for my lessons. I did the show. At the end of the show, she surprised me with something that never even further than that. She commented, they gave me flowers, and she said I had a year of a scholarship. I didn't hear it because I was so emotional. I didn't understand it. The next day, I did my dancing with my instructor. And the next day I went to say thank you. It was nice. You gave me a dream for one night. And then she said, didn't you understand what we did last night? I said, no, I didn't comprehend. She said, you have a year. That changed my life totally. I've made my commitment. I was there every day. I used to come early. When the room was free, I used to ask if I could go in and dance by myself. I'm like with Michael. I'm not there for people to watch me. I'm there to satisfy me dancing and being who I am. Because all my life I've been like, she's the weird, she's the freak, she's different. And I accepted that because I know I am in my own way. So she changed my life to the positive that she's been healing me. And I tell her that every day. And I tell the whole studio, they be my healing, not the doctors. The studio has healed me. This is my fourth surgery I have had. I just had surgery 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. But I'm here, I am to tell you the story of Yajiara. That thanks to her and thanks to the studio, I am able to have done shows. She gets me going. She knows me better than anybody else. You're going to do the show. You're going to do the show. And I'm like, I'm not ready. Yes, you are. I just finished doing a trophy ball, the second trophy ball, and I did a show at Pinecrest.
Pinecrest Gardens.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very, very happy and very kind of surprised at the same time how much I have grown, healing through my health, through the cancer, because she doesn't realize that she gave me the best gift ever that I have had in my life. Fred Astaire, dancing.
And thank you very much for sharing that. What is it that you saw the moment that you met her that caused you to reach out to her like that?
Well, I think we have to go backwards a little bit for that. Because I was a nurse for many years, and so I am kind of a bleeding heart. And my former partner and I would kind of butt heads in terms of the business, because I would want to do like a fundraiser for this, or I would want to do some outreach thing. And he would say, well, but it's not really like good for the business. And I'm like, it doesn't hurt, so we had some difficulties, and he left, he split off from the business, and I was running the business by myself. And during COVID, I had taken care of a firefighter that we lost, and I got very close to the fire department and his family, and it was an honor and a pleasure to know them. But he was one of those people that kind of reminds you the kind of person you want to be, the person you want to be like. And after we lost him, I was talking to them, and I was like, is there anything I can do? And kind of the idea of a fundraiser came up, which was prior to the foundation. And so that's how we started Dancing Like the Stars Miami, which is for the Resiliency Foundation. And then that was around the time that my business partner left. And it was a really dark time for me personally. And Michael, one of my best friends, actually came down to help me out with the studio. And we were running the show for the Breast Cancer Foundation in October, because I'd had a client from a few years ago who had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had never seen her again. I had tried to keep up with her, and she and her husband were wonderful, incredible people. And then, the pandemic happened, and I thought she died. She had breast cancer, and she was very young, and it was very bad. And then one day she just walks into the studio. She found me. I mean, she didn't have any of my contact information, but she found me, she found the studio, and she had been in remission. Everything was good. She was radiant. She looked like the day I met her, and I'm crying and she's crying. So I wanted to do a fundraiser, and I said, okay, the Breast Cancer Foundation, this is perfect. I have a history of it in my family. This is great. Like, we're going to do this for Michelle. And so that's what started the show. And then 2 weeks before the show, I was having a really, really difficult time in my personal life. I had a lot going on. And Yajiara had come in for her lesson, and she was talking to her instructor. And he came over to get me, and he said, I need you to come talk to her. And I'm so busy. We have an event later. And I'm like, what? Like, you're running a small business. You're always busy. But he said, no, you have to come talk to her. So I went and I sat down, and she was asking me questions. And so I kind of started asking back, like, for a little bit more information. And when she told me, I just kind of felt like, okay, I was in a bad place because I felt like I had lost my purpose. But this is the purpose. We're having a show for the Breast Cancer Foundation in 2 weeks, and someone who actively has cancer has just walked into my studio and said, this is my dream. And I can give this to her. I can do this. Like, this is within our control.
So this wasn't coincidental, was it?
I mean, it doesn't. I don't know if I believe in coincidences.
I don't think it is.
It wasn't intentional, but
So let's talk about the foundation and about some events that are coming up in the next week or so. Michael, could you talk about that?
Oh, I'm not the calendar person, so you have to talk to her.
Okay.
Sorry.
Perfect.
I'm the one she like goes, go, you know, and I
Here are
I
the things.
gallop out there and I dance for 10 hours in a row. So that's what I do.
Like 10 hours.
And then I'm back in the office going, what are we doing now?
Perfect.
Like literally today, she's like, where's your suit? We have to be somewhere at 3 o'clock. I was like, oh, what are we doing? I'd go get my suit.
So this woman comes into your life almost, you know, by design, in the sense of like, wow, like, did you say, what are you waiting for, Elizabeth?
Well, unfortunately, she is not the first person that we have met who is dealing with this specific issue. I've been in this business for a long time, and I cannot tell you how many people have come up and talked to me about what they're going through. And it always happens in the ballroom. Someone leans forward and says, dancing saved my life.
Oh my God.
It starts that way. And then you get to hear the story of what specifically they were struggling with and how dance became part of their recovery. So that's when we know that we are tasked with a very important duty. And so she's not the first, but we know that we have to do this. And we always, even though, you know, we run the studio, it's a very luxurious and glamorous sport, but it's also a very, very expensive sport. And my thing has always been like, how are we reaching out?
And how can we make this
How
accessible?
can we make this accessible to people who are in need, maybe can't afford it, or would like to do more with their dancing? We offer you know, scholarships to competitive students. We also offer medical scholarships, like 2 different areas. But we're trying to make it available to everyone so that they can live their dream. And we understand that, you know, just when you walk in off the street, and it can be very expensive. So that's why the Whitney Dance Foundation came into being, because we're really trying to make sure that everybody can do it that needs to do it.
And so you try to you raise money and then give it to qualified people, whatever that happens to be?
Well, not exactly. You see, what had happened was Yajiara was with us for those 2 weeks, and she was in our show. And she, in that time, like I said, she really reminded us, like, we've had other people, other clients that we've had who had a stroke, who were in recovery, who had a partially torn spinal cord, who were partial paraplegics, who were recovering from all kinds of other physical ailments. Dancing saved my life, dancing saved his life. I mean, there's a million years behind it. But so for us, it was really personal. And
because it can save your life for different reasons. You know,
Right.
there might be a health reason, there might be a mental health reason.
There's
there
a
could be
million things.
An emotional reason. We get a lot of widowed people in, mostly ladies, who are trying to find their way back out into the world where they're missing their partner in life. You know, like there's so many different ways that people are healing themselves with dance.
So
So you started foundation.
well, the morning of the show, I'm in the shower and I'm thinking to myself, like, I feel like I'm not done. This isn't enough. I can't imagine saying goodbye to her. You know, she's been here for 2 weeks, but she feels like a member of our family. She's just really, she changed our lives. I mean, I can't even tell you. And so I said, okay, I'm going to sponsor her. As a business owner, I'm going to sponsor her. And that's what we decided to do. We gave her a year. And then shortly after that, I mean, we've had so many people come in who were recovering from strokes, who had all these other medical issues, who would have benefited from it, who had cancer, who currently actively have cancer.
Did you know that when you started that there was so many other benefits other than actually learning to dance?
No, of course
You know,
not.
when you come in on your first day and you sign up with us, there's a questionnaire and there's a list of benefits on there. And when we onboarded for this specific job at Fred Astaire, you start to train in that, like, okay, when the new dancer comes in, they're going to look at this list and they're going to tell you, oh, I'm here to lose weight, I'm here to make friends, I'm here to be social, I'm here to be competitive, I'm here to be mentally challenged, like whatever it is. And they'll pick 1, 2, or 4, or all of them. But
It always changes.
it always changes. And also, I always tell them, hey, you're going to receive all these benefits regardless of the ones that you come in for. You're still going to receive all the other ones you'll see, because you become part of a community, you start to make friends, you'll do an event, you'll meet other competitors, you'll meet other showcase people. We do so many different things. And, there's social dances, there's a million different things that you can do inside the studio that, some people think, oh, that's just for competitive dance. I'm like, no, absolutely. Like, everybody does everything, anything, nothing. It doesn't matter. Even if they just want to come in and, like, go to group classes, go to their private classes, do coachings, but you will receive all of those benefits. And there's so many of them. And sometimes I look at the list and I'm like, well, that's not really, it's a long list. And I'm like,
We should add to that.
I know.
Oh, I didn't think of that. We should put that on
It's
there.
really not everything's on there, so maybe we need to revisit that. But, okay, we're working right now. We're in a working
Sorry.
session. We're always
Sorry.
working. But there just are so many benefits, and it just depends on you. We always say, hey, if you come in and you work your program, and you come in and be here 100%, you will get everything that you want out of it. You will.
Let's talk about Give Miami Day.
Well, I was going to say, so
Okay.
the end of that story with Yajiara was that we said we were going to sponsor her as a business. And then we met so many more people that were undergoing other kinds of hardships, be they physical, be they emotional, other kinds of adversity. And that's she was the reason we started the foundation, because there were so many people that we met and we saw who really benefited from it, who could really use it. And we
that
wanted,
made us want to do more.
and we
We're like,
couldn't
how
do more
we-
by ourselves.
How do we get this to everybody?
So we started the 501c3, and this is the first year we're actually eligible. Well, it's the first year we're actually available, but it's the first, we started January of this year. But we're registered for Give Miami Day, and it's the first year we're able to participate, which is super exciting. So our hope is that we'll be able to raise funds to continue with our scholarship program, with the stroke program, with everything else that we're currently doing. I have a list here.
We do the fundraiser for first responders mental
Yes.
health every year. There's a lot of things that we're participating in besides doing our own foundation. And I'm kind of like, I get into the office in the morning, I'm like, okay, what's happening? Because there's a lot.
What's going on this
Let me ask
month?
you something.
There's a lot that we're covering.
On your Facebook, what is
Yeah.
it? Your Facebook page. What is it?
Whitney
called?
Dance Foundation.
Whitney.
Whitney Dance Foundation.
Whitney's
Whitney Dance Foundation.
on Facebook.
Yes.
So, Alex, could you change that? We got some stuff on there we should change. Right, there we go. Okay, but on the
Thanks, Alex.
On the screen we have a QR code. Tell us what's on the QR code.
Yes. So the QR code is for Give Miami Day. Early giving starts on November 13th. Whitney Dance Foundation is a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible. I send out a letter, as tax deductible receipt you can take to your account for your taxes or purposes. But basically, then we're able to put that money forward into our first responders fundraiser, into our breast cancer fundraiser, into our scholarship program. And the biggest thing for us is being able to give back to the local community and strengthen the local community in the ways that we can.
So 10 years ago, you were a nurse, practicing nurse.
Well,
Well, she revived
2
her
years
career
ago,
in
I
2
was
years
a
ago.
pro-
Yeah, she came back
Because
as
of
a
COVID.
travel nurse.
Yeah, I was.
And you said, okay, I'm done with that. I'm going to go do something else.
Well, no, when COVID happened, they shut down everything. So we work in ballroom dancing. It's a partner sport. You have to touch
Yeah,
other
we couldn't.
people.
Yes.
We couldn't
We
stay
really
open. during
couldn't
COVID.
teach. So I went back to nursing during the pandemic, and I had the honor of working at Jackson South with their critical care team. They're incredible.
The Miami Hero did a terrific video program from Jackson South. It was filmed there. And people, you could still get it. It was about a 10-part series. From the beginning, they somehow knew in March there was.
Oh, I'm in that.
Oh, is that right?
I am. Yeah, I'm in a couple of the clips. Yeah.
Yay! Bingo. When I was watching it, I was so inspired because and I used to be a registered nurse, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I'm watching and I'm seeing those people in the struggle and they interviewing the doctors and the nurses and the people at home. So my hat's off to you for being involved really from the beginning, not knowing for sure what was going to happen.
Yeah,
So-
but you know, I mean, it's kind of like being a priest. You know, once you're a nurse, right? Like, are you?
You know
ever-
too much.
Are you ever not a nurse? Like, see, you know what I'm talking about. You know, when you ask her if like people are like, I say she's a nurse, and they're like, well, she's not working as a nurse. I'm like, it's not like that. When you're
still
a nurse,
registered.
You're a nurse forever.
But actually, it brings me to another interesting
Because if you're
point.
bleeding, you go to her office and she will fix you up.
I mean,
Like sometimes we bleed in ballroom.
we try not to.
Try to, but sometimes.
It brings me to an interesting point because Michael has such varied experience, not only in his dance career, but also with clients. And because I have not only the medical expertise, but also the varied experience with clients. I didn't know this at the time, but I found out there is an international association of dance for medicine that we are a part of, we are members of. I'm trying to find it exactly, IADMS, but I don't want to say the acronym wrong.
And we know that movement heals a lot of things.
Well, they don't really know, and we're actually up to be included in a study, in a medical study. She can speak more to that, but they know that there is a therapeutic result to dance. They don't really know exactly how it works, but they're beginning to study it, and we are going to be in a study for University of
Miami. We've been in talks with.
What I think it is, as a dancer and as somebody who has healed my person with dance, you know, like going into my 50th birthday, you know, like you get checked for XYZ, you know, you're getting checked for your PSI for your prostate health. And I, you know, like most men, your testosterone dips as much as
Not me.
Yeah, not you. Right. But your testosterone can dip up to 50% around your 50th birthday. And I was fairly normal. I was working a desk job. I became a pro again at 48. So 48 is when I started. I was already dancing as a competitive amateur at that time. And they just kept asking me to work for them. And I was like, no. And then finally I said yes. And it was funny because I went to my doctor and, you know, like I was 48 and it was kind of like dipping just like everybody said. And then I turned 51 and I was in the doctor and he's like, all right, what are you doing? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I just ran your testosterone. It's like testosterone of a 27-year-old. And I said, I know. I totally feel it. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, nothing. I said, I just dance all day. And he's like, no, what are you doing? Like he was pressing me. My doctor's a Scorpio too, by the way. And he said, no, I want to know what you're doing because I have other clients that are in need of whatever you're doing. And I said, you know, he's like, you're not taking steroids, are you? And I said, no, I'm not taking anything. And I said, I don't do anything. I just dance all day. I don't even, I drink alcohol sometimes. I don't eat that well. Sometimes I go to, you know, fast food. I said, really, I'm not doing anything that you can prescribe other than dancing 10 hours a day. And I don't really think anybody will be able to do that. I said, it's not a prescription. But really, and he's like, huh, like he's sitting there going, like grilling me about it. And I'm like, no, really, trust me. I monitor my food. When I stress myself out, I tend to eat a little more healthy by nature just because my body needs like broccoli or something. But
I don't think I've ever seen him eat broccoli.
You know, and it can't be just the physical activity because there's people like at my age that go to the gym every day and work out incessantly. My husband is like a Peloton. It's a cult, right? The Peloton thing is a cult, right? He has multiple Peloton equipment in his workout room. And even him, you know, like it doesn't really quite work the same way for him as it does for me. So I know that it's not just the physical exertion. I think it's also the camaraderie. It's also the mental stimulation. It's also the social aspect. It's also you listening to music because, you know, we're starting to learn that different frequencies of sound and music can heal you in different ways. And you're in the ballroom, the music is loud, it's stimulating you. There's all sorts of, depending on which style you're working on. You have a different frequency of music for foxtrot, for swing, for cha-cha.
And when you bring
So
that, when I watch,
there's just a lot of things.
When I see them dancing and I hear the music, and it's like you can be like happy or sad, sensual, and or exotic, and it is an amazing thing. So, what was it like for you when you were out there dancing?
freedom every time. And I go sometimes with pain. I'm in pain sometimes, many times in pain there. But when I get to the dance floor, the pain is gone. It heals me. And this should be the new medicine, dancing.
There's
I have students come in, and I have this couple. They're so cute. He's 65. His wife is 32, and
God bless them.
and she's like professional athlete. You know, like she's like she plays golf, and she's just an amazing athletic person. And he comes in because he was a football player. He was a pro football player, but he's in a lot of pain from his football career. And he comes in, but she loves it so much. He's just there, and he's just like, I'm doing it because my wife loves it, and da da da. And he always tells me when he's leaving, he said, I came in with a headache, and I was so grumpy. And he's like, and now I'm leaving, and I feel great, and I don't have a headache anymore, and I don't feel bad. I was like,
yeah, and so we know what happens if you do that frequently enough, even though at the moment you might be not doing it, there's that connection from one day to the next to where that feel good lasts a little bit longer than it would if you just stopped altogether.
Well,
Yes,
that's
well.
true, but they've also done a lot of research on neuroplasticity of the brain, and they found that particularly ballroom and partner dancing cause the brain to build new neural pathways.
And what is it in particular that you think it is that is different about that type of dancing?
Because your brain is forced to make micro decisions that you're not conscious of in real time. So if you're dancing with a human, you have to react to them, to the music, to the people around you if you're dancing on a crowded floor, to everything else that's going on simultaneously. So you make all of these micro decisions, maybe by adjusting a little to the left, or maybe by speeding up your tempo or whatever it is, and you're not even conscious of them. So this process of making micro decisions in real time over and over again forces you to build new neural pathways.
The two of you are very excited about this. My hat's off to you. And you seem delighted to be able to participate.
I am more than happy. My life changed. I have freedom. I feel when I'm dancing, because I used to go out dancing by myself to clubs. All the DJs know me. They put music. Yajiara's here. Put music for her, but I never danced with a partner, ever. My first time it was when I came to Fred Astaire. That was my first encounter dancing with someone.
So what is that like from going from solo dancing to having a partner there?
It's been hard for me because I'm used to being free. Now I have to play with the rules, which I'm a freedom person, but the rules are good for me right now. And just dancing with a partner and learning all these types of dancing, it has been the best ever in the world for me. Freedom, my mind, my health, and my spirit. I cannot even say how happy I am of this freedom that she has given me.
Ida, that is wonderful to hear that, and that you've gone through that process and be able to tell your story, because there are lots of people that are going to be watching this and you're saying, oh my goodness, look, it worked for her.
Yes.
And this is about stepping out, so to speak,
Yes.
right? And being involved and learning new things and slight touch, but understanding sometimes it's just this little type of movement. I know you're an athlete and you understand if you're trying to get through a crowd, there's a certain way to do it, because if you do it without thinking, there may be some issues. But after a while, though, you learn how to do that.
Yes.
And that's what dancing apparently does.
I think all of that I 100% agree with, but the one thing I would say about this sport for people in general is that we live a very disconnected lifestyle right now. And the invention of cell phones and people just being constantly distracted and dealing with their cell phone rather than like this person is in front of me. Like I'm always like that. She's always on the computer. I'm like, can you look at me right
I'm
now?
multitasking.
Yeah. Which means half listening, by the way.
That's not true.
But I think that it is the personal connection. You walk in to our studio, and as soon as you walk in, there's 1, 2, 3. There might be all 6 of us standing there, ready to
7.
greet you, chat you up, ask about how your day was. You get your shoes on. We put on some music. Oh, do you like this song? Oh, I love this song. You know, we play your favorite song. We start off with, you know, like whatever dance we're going to warm up with, and then we're connecting with each other. And I think that that's the major difference, because I grew up as a show dancer. I did the world tour of A Chorus Line. I did West Side Story. I did all these big dance musicals. You know, Grease has a lot of dancing in it. And I was always in the big dance musicals, but it was, you know, sometimes there was partnership dancing, you know, like there's the mambo scene in West Side Story. But it is a very, very unique exercise to be attached to another person while you're dancing. It's very unique. And I always say, hey, if I'm dancing by myself, I'm a 2-legged animal. But as soon as we attach, we're now one 4-legged animal. Yeah. We're not 2 2-legged animals. We're one 4-legged animal. And if Elizabeth and I are attached here, then our arms are going here. So now we're attached by one of our arms, and now we have 2 arms to express ourselves, but we have also 4 legs. So you turn into this unique thing when you start to do this partner dancing. And it's very strange at first.
At first, yeah.
But then it becomes kind of magical. And when you come off stage and you've connected on stage, and, you know, we just did our show, and, you know, we kind of choreographed our routine the morning of the show, and we were like, okay, let's see how this goes. But we're pros, you know, like we can do this. And we went out there and we did a good job, and we had the Fred Astaire world champions standing in the wings, ready to go out. And they were like, oh my God, they really liked our routine. And we're like, okay, we did it.
Something.
But it's so much more than yourself, you know? Like, you can go out there and perform and you could be like, I'm awesome, yay. But it's just not like that when you do this kind of dancing, because it takes so much to be together on the same page, on the same note, on the correct foot together. Like, it really is a different kind of accomplishment, you know?
And the thing I wanted to tell you, I made friends a lot. Everybody's so nice, and everybody's there for different situations. And we often tell them, we don't want to leave. Can we stay here? Can you put beds in the dance floor? We want to stay here 24/7 and
I mean,
dance.
it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, we tell her that.
Yeah, we're usually like, the parties are like, okay, turn off the music.
Guys, we want to go home
Yeah,
now.
we don't want to go home.
So listen, what happens to
They'll
people's cell
eventually
phones?
leave.
How do you get people to get that phone out of their hands?
They put it down. We have
put it down.
ottomans
Yeah.
that open up, and we make them put all their stuff, including their phone, into the ottomans. And then the lid comes down, and that's it. And they're happy to do it, because you know
isn't it
what?
something freeing for people when you can take that stuff and you know where it is, go out
Yeah.
and do something. Don't worry,
I mean,
it'll all be there when you
Yeah.
get done.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we do have a lawyer who really has to answer their phone, but it's very rare.
Most of the time
It's
they
very
don't.
rare.
Yeah.
And even the lawyers, Scott, even when he
love
has
Scott,
to, he's also Scorpio, by the way. I'm Scorpio today, but even when he does it, he's just like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just here having fun. Like, it took him a while to get there, because when he was first coming in, he was a little like, impress me, you know. I'm here for my wife, and then now he's the
the best.
happiest guy. You never
He's the
see the
best.
phone. I mean, it's just like, people. We can train you to disconnect from your phone. We can do that.
The cool thing about it is they did this research study when I was in nursing school a million years ago. It was a million years ago. You can quote me on that. But they did this research study, and they found that when you control for all other factors, when you control for age, when you control for comorbidities and all other illnesses, and you take 2 groups of patients, the patients that can tell you sincerely that the people who are taking care of them, their nurses, their doctors, they believe that those people want them to get better and care about them, those patients have better outcomes. And so why wouldn't it be true for everything else? So we have taken this foundation and we've kind of pushed forwards into the next steps of trying to get a research program off the ground with the University of Miami. We are working on our scholarship program. We run the Resiliency Foundation Dancing Like the Stars Miami fundraiser. We do Toys for Tots. We are currently a drop site for Toys for Tots, in case you're interested. We also do No Hunger November. We do a backpack drive, all that other stuff. But for right now, it's No Hunger November and Give Miami Day and Toys for Tots.
If somebody wants to find out more information about the good work you're doing, where can they go?
So they can go to our website, which I believe Alex had put
Is that it
up
right
on
there?
the screen. Yep, there is a specific page on our studio for the philanthropic stuff that we do. There's a phone number there for Whitney Dance Foundation as well. It's also on our Facebook page. And you can always call us at the studio too if you have any questions.
It's terrific. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say this, since I started there. The people that come in, they come in like, hurt. We all did at one point. And you should see how everybody has changed, like 360-degree like this. Everybody's united. Everybody's friendly with each other. We hang out afterwards sometimes. It's a whole family. And you see all these people that were like totally cold. Now they're like the friendliest people with each other. You don't see that everywhere.
So was there any connection to the COVID and this connection that I'm feeling that you have, or it was always there, just disrupted by COVID?
Well, I think it was always there to a certain extent, but I think COVID made it more precious to us because I know, at least for me, I was working as a travel nurse, so I was mostly living by myself. And I only got to see people who were unconscious. So
I was secretly working as a dancer because I had a student that was, kind of alone in her life. And, we all kind of separated into our own little pods, what we're willing to risk. I'm friends with Elizabeth at this point. She's in New York. And this student was asking me, I was at the first ballroom competition in the world after COVID. I was at the first one. And, we went with our masks and we danced all day with a mask on. And
he's calling me and he's
and
like,
I'm calling her and
hey,
I'm like, I'm going out the door. So
how worried should I be?
This is before the vaccination,
This was like in the very
and my
beginning.
husband's kind of like watching me go. And I'm going, you're not going to stop me. And he's like, no, you'll be fine. He's like, you survive everything. And I said, oh, okay. Like nobody knew, but, I think what it did for me, the COVID thing did, it really caused me to make better choices for myself. I mean, I feel like I've always made good choices for myself. I've been a free-spirited person. I've changed careers when I didn't like my career anymore. But I think through all this drama, and she's like, I don't want to scare you. And I'm like, no, tell me. Like literally we're on the phone and I'm like, no, just tell me. And then I'm like on the phone I'm like, oh my God, this is so terrifying. But I'm the kind of person that I always lean into my fear because I do believe that we all have fear. I don't think that there is a way to live fear-free, but I'm just someone who leaned into my fear and moved through it. And I think that when really, really big kind of catastrophic things happen in life, I think that the best thing that you can do is just lean into your fears and make a good choice. And I think that coming out of COVID, I know that she was like, I no longer can work as a nurse because of everything that I've been through. And she made a different decision. And I supported her in that because even when she had a different partner, we were calling each other and I was working at a different studio and doing my own thing. But I think that it's just COVID made us make better choices. It made us, because I don't think that we were going to mentally survive if we didn't.
Well, I think it also made us more conscious of the time that we had and how we were spending it. Yeah. And it made those personal connections much more valuable, and being present feel much more valuable.
We're going to wrap up, but before we get to the end, talk again about Give Miami Day.
Yeah, so basically this is the first year we've been able to register for Give Miami Day as a 501c3 nonprofit here in Miami that works with the local community. We're using the foundation to provide scholarships, to provide outreach programs, to work on research with University of Miami. Hopefully we're in talks for a stroke program. But our goal is to enrich the lives of the people around us and to improve the lives of the local community through partner dance, because Michael, I know, feels the same way. Yajiara, I know, feels the same way. All of our staff, all of our students can tell you that it has changed all of our lives. And so if we can better someone else's life with this one thing, then who knows what else can get better.
And we're going to wrap up with this. I'm going to ask each of you the same question. Yajiara, is there somebody that you would like to thank, or a mentor that you've had in your life that you'd like to identify by person and to thank them for what they've done, besides these two beautiful people here?
Well, first of all, my son. My son doesn't even know I'm doing this. But the day they tell me that I'm free of cancer, we talked about it. We're going to have the bell to play, and I'm going to invite my son to come down and see me performing for the first time. But Fred Astaire has been my dream come true of healing, not only dancing, but healing mentally and physically. And I have to say thank you to every single person, every instructor, the foundation, the Fred Astaire, totally, and all the students. They've been like really good and supportive with me. It takes me about 2 more months. I just came out, like I said, from surgery. It's going to take me 2 months to recuperate, but I had to be here today. But when I come back, I'll be the first one in the dance floor again.
Okay, when you ring the bell, would you let them know so I can attend?
Yes, I would love
Be
for
happy
you.
to do
Yes.
that. Michael.
There's not just one person because of the way I've lived my life. And I would say that I would thank everyone who reaches out to me in a loving way. I try to be a loving person. I try to love what I do. I try to live in love. You know, I'm on TikTok, and my whole focus is live in love and human rights for everyone. So I would thank everybody who ever has loved me for who I am.
Very nice. Miss Elizabeth. Somebody that you appreciate, or perhaps a mentor that you'd like to identify, if you'd like to do that, and to thank them.
You know,
Hey, I'm sorry, Alex, could you put on the blue camera? Is that her shot? Let's see the shot. Okay, look right in the camera there.
you know, it's funny because I think the first answer that everybody would go to is I would thank Michael, my dance partner, or I would thank my husband, Jordan, who is an incredible human, or I would thank all of my wonderful, incredible students and all of my staff and everything that they have done and continue to do for me that I'm sure they're not even aware of. But the thing is, I think what COVID did for me more than anything else, and what the last couple of years have done for me, is remind me that I am much stronger than I think I am, and I can do much more than I ever thought I could. So I'm not looking for anybody else to, I guess, be inspiring. I'm looking for other people to help get on the team so we can bring everybody else with us.
It's been a great day spending it with you. You guys are very enthusiastic. Congratulations to you on your journey.
Thank you,
And I
sir.
hope to see you in a couple months. All right.
Yes.
It'll be my pleasure to be there. And we're going to look right over the red camera. Folks, thank you very much for joining us today. Remember, Miami-Dade is a time for you to open your hearts and your wallets as well. You can go to the QR code up there, or go to your webpage or your Facebook page and give freely and take care of yourselves. And again, thank you for joining us, and have a great day.